Good afternoon. We'll be in Acts 4. Messiah 4. And they were speaking to the people, the priest and the captain. And as they were speaking, who? John and Peter were speaking to the people. The priest and the captain of the set apart place and the Sadducees came upon them. So at this time there was four sects in Judaism. You had the Sadducees. They were the ruling class. They were the go between them and Rome. You had the Pharisees, who were the rabbi, the moderates, and you had the Zealots, self-explanatory, and then you had the Essenes. They were more of the country culture at the time. But the Sadducees and the Pharisees held the most power, mainly the Sadducees. Came upon them, being annoyed because they taught the people and announced the resurrection from the dead of Yeshua. And they arrested them and put them in jail until the next day, for it was already evening. And many of those who had heard the word believed, and the number of the men became about 5,000. And it came to be on the next day that the rulers and elders and scribes assembled in Jerusalem. This takes place after Yeshua crossed over. This is about 40-ish days after that. As well as Hanan, the high priest, and Caiaphas and Joan, and Alexander, and many were as high priestly descent. And having placed them in the middle, they asked, by what power or in what name did you do this? Referring to healing the lame. And Kepha, Peter, he's going, when he gets on a roll, we'll get him started. Then Peter, Kepha, filled with the set-apart spirit, said to him, rulers of the people and elders of Israel, if today we are called to account for a good deed towards a sick man by whom he was been healed, let it be known to all you and to all the people of Israel that in the name of Yeshua Messiah of Nazareth, whom you impaled, whom Elohim raised from the dead by him, with one stands before you healthy. This is the stone which was rejected by you builders, which has become the chief cornerstone. This is referring to Psalms 118:22. And there is no deliverance in anyone else, for there is no other name under the heaven given among men by which we need to be saved. And seeing the boldness of Peter, Kepha, and John, Johann, and perceiving that they were unlearned and ordinary men, they marveled, and they recognized that they had been with Yeshua. And seeing the man who had been healed standing with them, they could not contradict it. But when they commanded them to go outside of the council, they consulted with one another, saying, what shall we do to these men? For indeed, that is an outstanding miracle has been done through them, is apparent to all those dwelling in Jerusalem, and we are unable to deny it. But in order that it spreads no further among the people, let us strongly threaten them. All they had was words, to speak no more to anyone in this name, referring about Yeshua. And they called them and commanded that did not speak at all, nor to teach in the name of Yeshua. But Peter and John answering said, whether it is right in the sight of Elohim to listen to you more than to Elohim, you judge. So he's sitting there saying, hey, I should listen to you over God? Yeah, okay. For it is impossible for us for not to speak on what we saw and heard. And having threatened them further, they released them, finding no way to punish them because of the people, because they were all praising Elohim for what they had been done. For the man was over 40 years old on whom this miracle of healing has been done. And having been released, they went to their own people and reported all the chief priests and elders said to them. And having heard that, so they go back to their HQ, and having heard that, they lifted up their voice to Elohim with one mind and said, Yahweh, you are Elohim, you who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. Referring back to Psalms 146, 6, verse 6. Who by the mouth of your servant David have said, why did the nations rage and the people plot in vain? The sovereigns of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against Yahweh and against his Messiah. Coming out of Psalms 2, verse 1 and 2. For truly in this city there were gathered together against your set apart servant, Yeshua, whom you anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, with the nations and the people of Israel, to do whatever your hand and your purpose decided before to be done. And now, Yahweh, look on their threats, and give to your servants all boldness to speak your word. By stretching out your hand for healing and signs and wonders to take place, through the name of your set apart servant Yeshua. And when they had prayed, the place where they came together was shaken, and they were filled with the set apart spirit, and they spoke the word of Elohim with boldness. And the group of those who believed were of one heart and one being, and no one claimed that any of his possessions was his own, but they had it all in common. And with great power the emissaries gave witness to the resurrection of the Master Yeshua, and great favor was upon them all, for there was not anyone needing among them. For all who were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of what they sold, and laid them at the feet of the emissaries, and they distributed to each as anyone had need. And Joseph, who was also called Barana by the emissaries, which means son of encouragement, a Levite, a native of Cyprus, having land, sold it and brought the money and laid it at the feet of the emissaries. Shalom. Have a great day. Read your Bible.